Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.
All right, CJ McCollum is joining us. Thank you so much for coming on the pod. We appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
We've had your partner, Jordan Schultz, from the Pull Up podcast on before.
Right.
Jordan is family, obviously, and so are you. Good friends you are with my fiance, Earl Watson, who, we'll obviously mention because he set this up.
Of course. Shouts out to Earl. Shouts out to the Godfather.
Yeah, of course. But thank you for joining us. I got to say, we love the Blazers all through the playoffs. You guys were so much fun to watch. We were really happy with your success throughout the playoffs. What was this year's experience like? Because I feel like this was the year really where you really burst onto another level. And obviously you had that incredible game. But what was just this playoff run like for you?
It was a lot of fun. I think just, first of all, shout out to my guy, Earl Watson. That's my guy, my OG. It started off, honestly, what I was thinking about last year's sweep against the Pelicans. So being able to kind of redeem ourselves coming into the season, we had our, sights kind of focused on the playoffs, in October when we were playing the Lakers at home. We're kind of thinking about how we prepare for the playoffs mentally and physically, making sure we got the right mentality each night, each game, understanding how important it is for us going into the playoffs. And then once it got here and we ended up getting matched up with the Thunder, we just felt, our previous experiences had kind of prepared us for anything. We had already seen the worst, getting swept, being mentioned in trades and kind of going through that, which was like every summer thing for some of us, especially when, you got the ringer, trying to get me traded for Kevin Love every year. Now I think it's another small forward they're trying to get me traded for. But you go through that stuff and then you just, you get closer to your teammates. You have a better appreciation of everyone around you, and you either, kind of separate or rally together. We're the type of team to rally together. And obviously, we end up, going 7 games with Denver. It was a tough, tightly contested series, but we never really wavered, because of what we had gone through. And obviously the season didn't end the way we wanted. We ended up getting swept against the Warriors and blow 3 consecutive double-digit leads in the third quarter, which still pisses me off, every night before I go to sleep. But you get over it and you figure out ways to kind of get better and grow. And I think it was a good learning experience for us and a good step in the right direction. And then you end with more humble pie to kind of prepare you for the next year.
So the Warriors right now have got pretty much everybody is injured. Which is strange because Toronto really is not dealing with the same thing, and usually towards this part of the season you've got this as a factor. I picked Toronto in 7 / hope for Toronto in 7, but I do think Kawhi is just playing incredible. However, this last game kind of saw the Warriors. They went on their third quarter run as they tend to do. So you have the experience against them in this particular playoff run. What is it that you would do against them? Because they don't really get enough credit for their defense, especially when they go on those runs. What would you do, or what would you add offensively against the Warriors?
I think using your timeouts is huge, honestly. I know you want to save them. Most coaches want to save them for situations that may occur down the stretch of the games, having those timeouts available when you need them. But when they go on those runs, I think being able to use those timeouts is important because sometimes your team just misses shots. And we went through spells where we just had empty possessions. Obviously, they feast off turnovers, and I think they did that against the Raptors in that game. But you need to be able to stop the run or stop the bleeding. And with Steph, with Clay, Boogie's back now. You got all of those different weapons out there, and even Quinn Cook hits 3 threes in a row in the quarter. You got to be able to stop the bleeding somehow and call a timeout and then hope for the best, honestly. If you don't score during those runs, it hurts, but if you can't get stops, that's when the game kind of shifts, and they did it to us. I watched it again last night, 2 nights ago with the Raptors, and it's just continued that way, and hopefully they can rebound. But you said you hope for it in 7. I said Warriors in 6, regardless if KD comes back before the series started. And whether he comes back or not, I just think that the winner of Game 2 was going to win the series, and I felt like the Warriors were going to win, and they did.
Does the timeout stop the momentum as well? Because that's what I've been saying about the Warriors is once they get going, it's like trying to stop a boulder downhill.
Yeah. It's tough, man. The timeout just kind of gives you a chance to recuperate. And when you're at home, there's no standing ovation, so it's just quiet. Right. You call a timeout, you walk back to the bench, it's quiet. When you're on the road and you timeout, they give you a little roar. It gets louder. I think it kind of feeds off of it. But It's hard. You just have to be able to get a shot every time. I think that's the biggest thing. Get a shot every time, and you live with the results. Hope for the best. It's a make-miss league, and when you miss, they usually capitalize. But if you turn the ball over and they can get out, you can get dunks. Clay can get catch and shoot threes in transition. Role guys are getting involved because it's a fast-paced game, and Draymond's finding them. I think that makes it more difficult. But the Raptors, I think they'll be all right. They'll compete. They'll keep it close. But I just think that the Warriors' experience and being able to have kind of steal home court. And if they protect home court, the series is over.
So Kawhi has been, I don't even want to say that Kawhi's been incredible. Kawhi's been what Kawhi is. I feel like everyone forgot how good Kawhi is because he had that injury and everything that they went through with the Spurs, and he kind of looked like the villain in that regard. And that's why I like Toronto all year, because they were a perennial playoff team. And they added Kawhi Leonard. And if Kawhi Leonard is going to play, he's going to be amazing. But what do you think of what Kawhi has done with the Raptors this year? And do you think that he stays in Toronto?
I'll start with the first part. I think, like you said before, Kawhi's been Kawhi, but this is what have you done for me lately type of league. Right. So when you get hurt or you're not playing the playoffs long, people kind of forget about you out of sight, out of mind. And I think that when he got hurt and didn't play last season, people forgot that, he's a finals MVP type player who's gotten better offensively every year. And before he got knocked out of that Warriors series, before Zaza him in that series and took him out, he was in position to essentially beat the Warriors. I think they win that series if he doesn't get hurt, honestly. But I think looking at what he's been able to do, how he's matured, doesn't talk still, he just gets buckets. He has funny jokes post game that he doesn't mean to make funny, but they're just funny because it's his personality. Teammates seem to love him. He's virtually unstoppable. He has what we call in each game, and he scores 36 on 16 for 16 from the line. Still hasn't really shot well against the Warriors, but he's still killing 28 points a game or whatever. But the fact that he's doing it on this stage consistently based on the run he made with his team shows everyone else how good he truly is. And it's kind of like life coming full circle and seeing him kind of be an elite player all over again. And then in terms of him staying or leaving, I hear the rumors that he might sign a short-term deal, but I think if he's somehow able to come back and win this series, he stays. Otherwise, I think he leaves, and I don't think he's going to come back. So I imagine he leaves or signs a short-term deal like his uncle or somebody is rumored to have said he will. But to me, it doesn't make sense. You're loved in Toronto. I would stay. Sign a 5-year deal, cash out, enjoy my life, take the free condo they're offering them, eat for free and everywhere you go in the city. And then if you like LA, you go to your little house, or not a little house, the big house you built in California in the summertime.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should stay. I've come around to that. So there's another kind of wave that's happening right now. And I feel it, but I also need a solution for it, where teams are reportedly moving away from using the term owners, which I'm for. I don't like the term board of governors, just as being someone in the media, and as well, you have a podcast that doesn't really roll off the tongue as well. Right. So we need another solution. I'm okay with team owners because I feel like that is more direct and has less of a negative connotation. But what are your thoughts on that wave?
I think it's interesting. It is what it is. Technically, they own the team. I get why people would be sensitive to it because there are some racial similarities to what they're referring to, not in the term ownership, but the way the NBA is ran. You look at the combine. We're getting our body fat down, we're lifting, we're running. I get how you can, see some of those comparisons, but it's completely different. Obviously, we're getting paid millions and some people hundreds of millions of dollars, and just no forced labor. And we kind of agree to this via contract. So I've seen a lot of people looked up different words that basically mean owner. Like, what is it, Esquire or something? Game of Thrones word?
Esquire is, that sounds a little, I think it's Squire is what you're thinking of.
Squire? Yeah. I said Esquire, like the magazine. Yeah, Squire. There's no way around it. They own the team. So, if they want to preface it with team owner or whatever, they own the team. We're basically a bunch of checkers and chess pieces that they utilize, and we get paid well to be utilized, and then our time of service is up, and we move on and live a great life. So I don't care what they call us or what they call the teams. As long as I'm treated fairly, which I am, as long as I'm paid fairly, which I feel like I am, and I'm treated with respect, I don't really care what they call us.
So I wanted to ask you about this. Earl and I were talking last night. Earl did the Pangos All-American Camp over the weekend, and we were talking about you coming on the podcast today, and he showed me a picture of you. Which I was very shocked by, and I also showed Brandon here the picture before you came on.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you have some stories. So you were not
Lots of stories.
the same size that you are now in high school.
No, not close. And I always tell my fiance that like all the girls were taller than me. Like, it was just like early on in life. I mean, it's 5'2", 108 pounds my freshman year.
You were the same
I'm
size
a
as
sophomore.
me. How is that possible?
But I mean, like, it's okay for you to be like that. But like me, it's like trying to be a professional athlete.
Oh, man.
5'2", 108 pounds, like tiny, skinny, but my head was a little big. Like my limbs was long, but I was still, it was a.
It wouldn't look that bad if everybody on the team wasn't so big. Like, y'all had some big guys on the squad. You know what I mean?
Right. And in that picture, Costa's behind me. My homie Costa, who is 7 foot. He was 6'11" in that picture. So it makes me look
like Calvin
smaller.
Cambridge.
Yeah, it makes me look smaller than what I really was. But I was 5'7", 120 pounds in that picture with no scholarship offers.
So, I mean, that's incredible. So, what advice do you give kids then? I mean, Pango's All-American Camp, being there, I mean, these kids are massive. It's jarring to see how just big and strong and athletic they are. But like you said, you had no scholarship offers. Now you have an incredible career. I mean, what advice do you give kids, or would you give kids who are in a position like you were, who are trying to be a professional athlete, but they maybe have all this stacked against them and they're not getting invited to camps like Pango's?
Yeah, I would tell them, like I always tell the kids at camp, I believe in manifestation. You can speak things into existence and then you go get it. Whatever life you want to live, however you foresee your future evolving, work towards that every day and use whatever you can as motivation, whether that's not getting invited to camps, whether that's not having scholarship offers, whether that's your coach, not playing you the minute you think you should be played, whether that's you getting cut from an AAU team. The first time I tried out for the Bronze AU team for King James, I tried out. This is after I was 5'11". At this point, I averaged 25. I went from 6 points per game to 25 my junior year.
Dang.
And I tried out for his team. And my mom didn't tell me until after I got a division, after I committed to Lehigh. My coach, who I'm good friends with now, even to this day, told my mom the first time he seen me play that I was a Division II player at best. And my mom has been brutal, in terms of honesty throughout my life, but she held that back. She never told me. But, she would criticize me after poor performance, make me go shoot free throws, tell me my left hand knee is weak, I need to work on this or that, or even now to this day, my second year in the league or third year in the league, she said, you told me to quit my job. If you're going to play like that, I'm going to go back and start working. Like, so she's a really honest person. But she kept that from me until I committed to Lehigh. And I said, why didn't you tell me? She said, no, I didn't want to discourage you towards your goal. I said, well, you just discouraged me a lot of my life with the other aspects. If you held this back for me, I could use it as some motivation.
Right.
But she said, no, I didn't feel like that would have been positive for you to hear at that time. So she never told me. But long story short, I ended up getting some scholarship offers, and I told Coach, I said, I can't believe you disrespected me like that behind my back. How dare you?
No, it's clear you've been working at it, and that's why I love watching you as a player, because we see you get better every year and see your team benefit from it as well. But we take podcasting seriously around here. How has your podcast helped you on the basketball court?
Man, that's a great. I've never been asked that before. Honestly, it gives me like a escape haven. You know what I mean? Like, I'm able to just talk. I can talk about my peers. I can talk about what's going on in the world. It's my podcast. I'll talk about whatever I want. I always joke and say that, but like, it's the truth. I can mention different wines I'm drinking, and either people like it or they don't like it, but I feel like it gives people a different side of me, and it gives me an escape from my reality. And I live a great reality, but sometimes you have to step outside of your day-to-day and have something that gives you joy, brings you joy. And podcasting is fun for me. I enjoy talking. I enjoy telling stories. And I enjoy just like giving people a different side of me while helping them, drink better wine at night.
Hey.
Well, you'll have to send us some recommendations. I've turned Earl into a wino now. I'll take responsibility for that, but he has very expensive tastes, so you'll have to give him some recommendations. So before we let you go, you are from Canton, Ohio. We were talking about it a little bit before we started the podcast. I'm from Pittsburgh. So, it's Cleveland and Pittsburgh don't really get along. Canton's a little different, so I'll leave you outside of the Cleveland bubble. Unless you have some Cleveland loyalties, do you?
My only loyalty is to the Cleveland Browns.
Oh,
so
if
you're a Steelers fan, then it is what it is. I respect that.
I wanted to
You're
give you
a fan of a team, but I just want to let you know that we're taking over.
No.
I want to give him his credit. You said 7-9. You weren't expecting for the Browns to tie with the Steelers since we were on the topic, but you called that 7-9 when they picked up Baker. What the Browns going to do this year?
Honestly, I can't wait. I've been waiting for this for 27 years. I'll be 28 in September. I've been waiting for us to be a good team, like not just like a 500 team, but like Super Bowl contender. People think we can win the Super Bowl. I think that's ambitious. I think we got to develop. We got some things we need to work on chemistry-wise. Baker's going to settle in. We're going to get used to having OBJ, spread the ball around, all that stuff. But I think it's going to take us 2 years. But I think this year we'll win, I'd say 9 to 10 games. We got a tough schedule. So I'd say 9 to 10 games. 9 games would be a good year for us. I think 10 games is more realistic in terms of us having a really good year and being on the cusp of, potentially winning the Super Bowl. I think we'll be on the cusp, but I think we win it in the next 3 years.
Oh, in the next 3 years. Okay.
You gotta go win.
I will. All right. Here's what I'll say.
I'm a Ravens fan. Like I really like AFC North, but we're gonna have our downtime for the next couple of years while we
we're not worried about the Ravens.
Okay. We didn't need that. We need that.
No one's worried about the Ravens.
We ain't worried about the Ravens. We worried about ourselves. We got a lot we got to figure out. Within ourselves, you know what I'm saying? We can't worry about the
Yes, you do. Yes, you
Although y'all got a lot to worry about over there.
All right. Well, look, I will say this. I'm very critical of the Steelers because I can be. I didn't like what they did last year. I'm a player person. Obviously, my brother played, and Earl, and I'm always pro player. Like I want players to make as much money as they can. I don't think they should ever take discounts. I'm all for mobility, like all of that. So I had no problem with what Antonio Brown did or Le'Veon Bell. I had a lot of problems with what Ben Roethlisberger did. So they deserved everything that happened. And I like Baker. Like I've thought Baker should have started from the beginning. I don't feel like they put him in a good position last year with Hugh Jackson. Like he should have been gone before Baker came in. So I'm not gonna say I'm rooting for the Browns because that's disrespectful. But I respect Browns fans because y'all know how to suffer. And I've had to watch the Dolphins my whole life, so I respect. Like I'm with you. I respect it. But I don't know. I think 3 years is ambitious. I think it's more like 5.
I think 10 games is ambitious.
Yeah, that too.
You said realistic with 10 games.
You want to put some bread up?
I mean, I don't like betting money.
I'm talking about Trader Joe's loaves.
But we might be able to figure out a wager.
Whatever y'all want to do.
We might this is an AFC North.
Individual. I can have one bet with you. I can have one bet with you. But I will say this: we're going to win more games than both of your respective franchises.
What?
I'm comfortable with saying that. I'm comfortable with saying that. So we can have 2 separate bets. We can wait for Vegas odds to come out if you're more of a confident person when you have backing from the odds makers.
We just need him back on when football season starts.
I think that 3 years is ambitious. I think 3 years is very ambitious in the Super Bowl, but this is our window. OBJ's got 4 years left. Who knows if he's going to stay? Who knows if he's going to leave? Jarvis has 3 years left on his deal. Baker's going to get maxed out, and he'll be there for a long time. We have a running back in place. We have a great D-line, but we can't pay everybody. So we have to really capitalize in this next 3 to 4 years because we're going to lose somebody. So that's why I say 3 years, because I think we're in win now mode, and I think the organization realizes we're going to lose some players and some pieces, so we have to capitalize on this roster. Maybe overspend early, understand that we're going to lose some players late.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's have you on again.
Yeah.
Closer to the football season, when we've all kind of settled into our decisions for what's going to happen this year. Yeah. I mean, I still feel confident, but I also need to figure out an appropriate wager. So
I know
you're crazy. You losing this?
No, I'm excited for week 2 of football season, and people see that CJ McCollum came on the podcast again. Like what?
We'll sort something out, but I'm interested. If nothing else, the Browns are going to be super interesting this year. So you definitely got that
AFC
going
North.
for you. But
okay, but before we switch topics, I don't mean to cut you off. We won 7 games last year. Do you guys think that we're not going to be 2 wins better than last season?
I mean, I think 10 is a lot. You guys have a very tough schedule. So
and you were dealing with some teams that were trying to figure it out as well. And also you had the pleasure of no film on Baker. So I listen, and I'm pulling, and this is the first time I've ever had anything negative to say about the Browns, because I really am pulling for Baker and all that. But like when fans get around, I'm like, man, what you talking about? Okay, so listen, y'all gonna be all right, but like you should be happy about reaching where you got last year. Honestly, it should be good. It should be nice.
I
and
mean, it
competitive.
was like a tremendous improvement. You hadn't won a game in like 4 years.
I can't wait till the season. So regardless of what happens, I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna have the same face. I will have my same position held firmly.
Yeah, pull up then.
I believe.
You pull up in person.
I believe.
Yes.
We're going to win 9 to 10 games. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 9. I think 9 is safe. I think 10 is ambitious, but I think that we have the type of team to where we can get 10, especially at the crib. We're going to be winning at the crib for sure.
I think it's going to be closer to 8, but
Yeah.
we'll set it up for
luck.
sure. And make sure you check out the Pull Up Podcast with CJ and Jordan Schultz, also friends. And thank you so much for coming on with us today. We really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
we'll have you on again soon. Appreciate it.
Later.